it's about what you're saying no to, and then the core tenets, how you hold those in the perfect balance. And that's really what XPS stands for.
Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Bit by Bit Leadership Conversations. It's a special one today because we are in New York with Dell to talk about CES. You'll be lucky because you're going to actually watch this during CES at the beginning of January. On the other end, I know all the things that are coming that I'm going to have to sit tight and wait before I can actually talk about it in public. But today I have Kevin Terwilliger with me
Great
to
be
talk to talk about the past year and all the change that we've seen, driven mostly by a little thing called AI. That has disrupted computing and the way that we think about the compute need that we have. Obviously, Dell has been around for a few years, so you've been through the motions of change, but I was making the joke, this is not your first rodeo, Texas.
We've seen a few of these cycles before.
But I think for me, the difference with AI is that it's really impacting everything, consumer and business. And even if you don't want to, if you're not interested, this is not a trend. This is not about thin and light or mobile, or it's going to come to you. So how do you, as a company that has been around for as long as you have been, rethink your strategy and make sure that you're relevant, you're different from your competitors, and continue to drive to basically your users what they really need?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, the first thing I would say is AI is going to impact every use case. There is no PC use case that isn't going to be impacted by AI. It's more of a question of the timing, right? And when these use cases are maturing. And the other thing that we know is AI is not about the technology, it's about the outcome.
Yeah.
And at Dell, we're very focused on meeting customers where they are and helping them figure out the right place for them to run these AI workloads. But the other pivot that you've probably seen from us is we're much more focused on, it's a great PC. There's AI under the hood, but it's less about the technology, it's more about the outcome. We talk about the change in battery life. We talk about the improvement in the productivity of the use cases that you're able to do, and it's less about how. We're not talking about NPUs and TOPS and that type of thing. And so that's the maturity, I think, that you've seen from us over the course of this last year.
It was interesting this morning listening to Jeff on stage that he mentioned AI at the very beginning, talking about last year. But then we didn't really talk about AI. We talked about the products and what you're doing from a design and innovation perspective that will help AI run. But I think that is a maturity of, if I use the hype cycle trend about, we probably are in the trough right now before we get to
I would agree.
To the real productivity. But I want to talk about that little
We brought
thing
a little toy
over
today,
here.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk XPS. You know how delighted I am.
Absolutely.
That not only the brand is back, but the brand is front and center. Last year, we were in New York to talk about rebranding and what Dell was thinking about. Things have changed quite a bit since then. Can you talk me through what happened and why we now get to see this beauty?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think big focus from us around XPS and what XPS really means and what it stands for in the industry. And so you see XPS front and center for us, celebrating that brand. And so if we go back a year ago and some of the announcements we made around branding and how we were really trying to push simplification and try and use the Dell brand more horizontally, and what we learned from feedback here this a year ago, feedback from our ecosystem, our partners, but then it really came to life with our customers, and especially as we looked at search data as well, that customers weren't willing to move on from the XPS brand. And so that's why here you see it front and center, but you also will see much more from us doubling down of having dedicated campaigns, really educating the marketplace around XPS. And that's because we learned so much around the passion around that brand. But there's also some other fine tuning that we're doing around our branding. So if we go back a year ago, we were actually talking about reducing 8 sub-brands
Yeah.
and massive simplification. And so really this is a tweak or a fine tune around XPS as well as Precision being brands that not only do we see those as anchor points and the passion around those, but the other 6 are still, we've moved on from those. So Dell Pro is still going to be, our core commercial brand. All of that means that XPS and Precision carry more weight in our portfolio. We can put more focus behind them as well. So very excited about that announcement today as we've done some tuning around the branding. The other big shift that we've made is away from a simplification strategy and a strategy where we were focused more on our premium price bands. You heard from Jeff talking about it's about scale, it's about breadth, it's about delivering a fantastic PC at every price point. Every area and segment of the market where a customer is looking, they're going to find a fantastic Dell PC. And so part of that simplification that we were doing of the branding, as we went to then apply that to this strategy shift of breadth and scale, we had to make some tweaks to it. So really celebrating with XPS. So what that means for a consumer as they're looking to buy, they still have mainstream being the Dell brand.
Yeah.
And then a very clear point in their purchase journey that if they're looking for premium, they can go to XPS. If they're looking for full gameplay, they can go to Alienware. So a much simpler approach for a customer looking for the right system for them.
Which I think is absolutely critical at a time where there are already so many complexities that as a consumer you need to navigate and figure. But what I also really appreciate is the fact that there was a lot of talk today about the discipline that you're going to have. And to your point, it's not just about slapping the logo in the front of the system. It is about educating the market. It is about coming out with products that don't compromise on whether it is Alienware or XPS, on what the brand stands for. And I think that that's really important, especially when it comes to AI, as far as the requirement that the different systems are going to have. So what can we expect from a product perspective when it comes to XPS in 26?
Yeah, great question. And this product really embodies it well, right? And so you think about what XPS has stood for. XPS, first and foremost, is about bringing first-to-market technologies that we know are going to translate into a unique user experience. So this product is packed with first-to-market technologies. The industry's first 8-megapixel super slim camera, the industry's first 900 energy density battery, the industry's first variable refresh rate display from 1 to 120 hertz. These are things that we've incubated within XPS. And we do that because we know that those things are going to translate into an outcome. So an outcome like the fact that this product with local video playback, those technologies in battery and display translate into over 40 hours of local video playback. So you'll see that continued in XPS. You also see a very premium build quality, something that we will never sacrifice within XPS. So this product, when you feel it in your hands, you know it's a different caliber. It's a step above. And we do that with the way that we machine this product out of aluminum and even down into the thermal technologies and the way it just feels in your hand. And then the last thing that we do is always focus on front of screen experience. XPS, again, stands for that. And so bringing tandem OLED into this product as well, both the 14-inch and the 16-inch. And that tandem OLED delivers just phenomenal color, phenomenal resolution, all the benefits of OLED, but not trading off the battery life like OLED traditionally has done. So really these are things that XPS has stood for years and years and years, and you'll continue to see that. But at the same time, you'll see something new coming from XPS that in addition to the 14-inch and the 16-inch, here we're teasing an additional product, a 13-inch that's coming. And what we're doing is not trading any of those things off, but bringing it to a more attainable price point, a price point that we haven't had in XPS before. So little bit of excitement here today around those additional products that are coming over the course of this next year.
If you had to pick a couple of features from the new lineup that you think will really resonate with consumers.
Yeah. There's a couple of them.
Okay.
I have to pick only a few.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have already talked about the camera, the display, the battery. The other thing that we've done is made some pretty significant enhancements on the inside of the system too. You see very, very clean design across the inside of the system, continuing to have the glass touchpad, the latticeless keyboard as we call it, but a ton of refinement. The amount of usability studies and feedback that we've taken around these products with pre-production units is a bar that we have not set before. So you see us improving things like the function row, going to standard keys for the function row, tweaking the keyboard to make it even easier to type, adding even simple lines, gestures around the touchpad. All of these things are feedback that we hear from our customers that we've quickly adapted to that and brought that into this product. And so a lot of times XPS is about the little things, right? And it's the attention to detail that a customer that when they buy an XPS, they can just know that all of it has been thought through at a different level than other PCs in the industry.
When you are talking about the product, what do you want people to, obviously you'll run campaigns and we're saying we're going to re-educate people as to what XPS stands for, but for you as a product, both as part of your broader lineup and who you stand for, what do you want people to walk away with?
Yeah, this product is really all about pushing the boundaries of innovation while achieving a remarkable balance, right? And we do that by not making any trade-offs, right? And so those trade-offs are around areas that we know that our customers value most. So I talked about display and battery life and performance. To do all of that without trading off how thin it is, right? 14.6 millimeters, without trading off on weight, half a pound lighter than the last generation. And so oftentimes from a product management perspective, it's about what you're saying no to, and then the core tenets, how you hold those in the perfect balance. And that's really what XPS stands for. And we do that through innovating around the camera and the battery and the keyboard and the display to keep all of those things in balance.
If I think about both you as a brand and your products, there's going to be more change coming in 2026 that is driven by agentic AI. And part of that is also how a change that is going to impact how we use these machines. What role do you want to play in shaping how computing is going to be changing?
Yeah, well, I think you'll see that we are playing a very proactive role in shaping that future. If I could take you through some of our labs and show you how we're starting to understand how form factors are actually going to change because of Agentic, how workflows are going to change, how a creator is going to interact with a PC in a totally different way. And you're going to start to see some of the interfaces start to really evolve. But at the same time, we have to do that in balance with, as those workloads change, as Agentic picks up in certain use cases, evolving the interfaces with that. But I believe that the PC over the next couple of years is going to totally transform, right? And AI is going to play a big role into that. People are going to be able to do so much more with a PC as AI is augmenting, their workflow.
Yeah. I think the striking the balance between what you can do technically from a design perspective, but at the same time meeting the user where they are today and helping them, change is always really tricky, right? Two questions. One is you kind of teased the 13-inch already. Is there anything else that we're just among friends, you can share when it comes to what else from an XPS perspective or even from a broader portfolio we can expect in 2026?
Well, the first thing I would say is we're not done. XPS 13 is one thing that we're sharing here today, but there's more to come in XPS. Again, I talked about the focus around this brand. It's not just about bringing back the name. It's not just about putting it on the system. It's not just about doing a campaign, but a lot of focus in meeting customers with that product line in lots of different use cases. So you'll see further expansion of the XPS brand. The other thing that we haven't talked about is Alienware,
Mm-hmm.
my other favorite child. So from a gaming perspective, it's a lot of parallels to what we've discussed around XPS. First of all, the focus around scale and breadth of that portfolio. So you'll see us over the course of 2026 double the size of our Alienware portfolio. And similarly, we're talking about some great innovations around that portfolio that will become available very early next year. Things like bringing OLED with anti-glare
I know,
technology.
I saw that earlier.
You saw
Pretty
it
impressive.
over in the studio. I think our those doing full gameplay are going to love that OLED display. You see us bringing in the new Core Ultra 200 series HX processors into Alienware, but again, we're not stopping there. Beyond that, we're also teasing today three additional Alienware products, two categories that we're
Mm-hmm.
going after. The first is an ultra slim Alienware. And you think about this as more of a covert Alienware that's designed for full gameplay, but in a form factor that's much more mobile. So more of that hybrid gamer that's going to be on the go. Maybe they're doing creative work, productivity work, and they're a part-time gamer. When they want it to be an all-out gaming system, it'll turn on to be that full-out gaming system, and that'll be available in 14 and 16. And then the other thing is that bringing Alienware to all new price points, right? And so a much more accessible Alienware, because what we've seen in the marketplace is full gameplay has actually come down to lower price points. We want to go and meet those customers where they are, and we know that those customers want Alienware.
Yeah.
And so we want to make that accessible to them without trading off on the build quality, the iconic design, the performance that you expect from an Alienware, not all the way to an Area 51 standard, but the performance you expect for full gameplay, delivering all of that at a very accessible price point. So evolution in both of those product lines, pretty significant commitment to the consumer business.
And I love how between both families, the discipline that you're putting in making sure that at that price point, there are no trade-offs,
Yeah.
right? Yes, you can go up with all your features
Mhm.
and your packaging, if you like, but from an experience perspective, there's no compromise. And I think that that is absolutely critical if you want not just credibility in the segment, but as a consumer, that's how you build trust.
Absolutely.
Right?
And we've built significant trust in XPS and Alienware over the years. And we know what built that trust, those core tenets.
Yeah.
And so absolutely we're focused on maintaining those things. Even if we bring it to a price point that's new for us, we know what's core to those brands to maintain that trust.
What are you most excited about when it comes to 2026, aside from the supply issues on RAM being resolved?
Well, I love how nimble the market is right now. We talked about AI. We talked about some of the things that are happening from an integrated graphics perspective of, what Intel's bringing with their new chipset with 12XC. All of these things are making some of these use cases move around. And I think Dell's best at getting early feedback from our customers, our direct engine, the amount of learning and listening that we're able to do with our customers. And so we tend to be very strong at predicting where those use cases are going. And you see that in our portfolio and how we're really expanding the breadth of the portfolio for just this moment and what we see in the industry in this next year. So as the product manager, like seeing all that come through as the market evolves, that's what I'm most excited about. I would tell you the product I'm most excited about is this product that I'm holding here, the balance that we've achieved with the XPS 14. And maybe one thing I'll leave with you as we're finishing, this 14-inch XPS, all those technologies, all those first-to-market innovations enabled us to deliver such narrow infinity edge borders on a 14-inch that if I were to stack this on top of a MacBook Air 13, it's smaller.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty tremendous achievement from an engineering perspective to deliver a 14-inch screen more display real estate in a smaller form factor, taking up less desk space
Yeah.
than a MacBook Air 13. So super excited about the balance that we've achieved with this product.
That's amazing. And availability is going to be,
So we'll be announcing this at CES.
yeah,
By the end of January, we'll be shipping it, so it'll be
shipping.
generally available.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you're
starting
not
to
going to
take orders right after CES.
make me wait too long. That's
Yeah.
good. Yes, I'm not patient.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin. It's always amazing talking to you because I think the thoughtfulness that you put, not just when you are bringing to market products, but how you talk about it is always appreciated.
Always
So
love our discussions, Carolina. Thanks
thank
for
you
all the
so much.
feedback. Keep it coming.
And you all stay tuned because we're going to have more coverage from CES, lots of hands-on time with all the Dell products.